A major data breach has exposed the personal information of ICE and Border Patrol agents, raising serious concerns about privacy, safety, and national security. Joining us now to discuss this and some other tech headlines is cybersecurity expert and privacy attorney Leeza Garber. Great to see you. Good morning to you.
Great to see you, Jan.
This breach reportedly exposed names, phone numbers, emails of ICE and Border Patrol agents and may be linked to a rogue, radicalized employee inside DHS. So how dangerous is this kind of exposure for agents in the field, especially at a time when activist groups right now are openly, trying to dox law enforcement and use their personal information to intimidate or endanger them?
Exactly, Jan. Doxing, or publishing the private information of an individual, usually for a malicious purpose like harassment or some sort of violence, is a threat for anybody. And in this context, where the Department of Homeland Security has said they've seen an 8,000% increase in the amount of death threats to ICE and Border Patrol agents, it's especially violent. And here, it looks like this is actually an aggregate of information taken from other public websites. There are a lot of links on the site to LinkedIn profiles for Border Patrol agents and ICE agents, which is publicly available information. We've seen reports from different tech outlets like Wired suggesting that some of these agents are publishing their private information. There is no home address information, which is very important, but many of these government workers need to be very cautious about what they post, just like we tell everyone in your audience at the National Desk. Be careful what you post online because it is public.
Well, and this is also as a result, though, of rapidly developing technology, artificial intelligence becoming a safety issue and obviously a liability as well. We're now seeing states move to crack down on AI-generated explicit content, including deepfakes that target women and children. So from a legal standpoint, what risks are lawmakers trying to get ahead of as this technology becomes cheaper, faster, and more widely available? Because we did see pictures being taken of some of these ICE agents to be put into AI profiles to see if they could, find out what their name is, find out who this person is.
Yes, with face identification software, all of these kinds of things which AI powers. And part of the key issue here, which we've seen unfold on platforms like Twitter, like X's Grok, is the problem of nudifying or undressing AI generative images of women and children, especially private subjects. This should not be happening. And what it looks like is the genie is already out of the bottle in the public accessibility and free use of this kind of software. So lawmakers around the United States are struggling to try to key in on how we can get to the base ground level of this technology and who do we hold liable for this problem? What kind of ethical, moral standards are we going to have in place for guardrails?
Well, and can we answer that? Because what kind of safeguards actually work in the real world, and who should ultimately be responsible? Tech platforms, state governments, federal regulators? I mean, how would this work?
As you've covered here, very importantly, we've seen the ChatGPT character AI teenage suicide lawsuits. We've seen these nudify applications, other malicious uses of this kind of technology. So we've seen failures from every platform. And right now we have the Take It Down Act at the federal level related to deepfake pornography, but we haven't seen much else that's really causing a dent. And part of the problem here is we have to identify who is going to be held accountable. And in setting guardrails, it has to be done at the technical base layer, having filters, setting up the parameters. We have to agree on what that looks like, because as we progress, it's simply going to get easier and easier to circumvent what we have in place already. So far, you see Australia's just banning access for minors. And while there are problems with age authentication, that may be the way to go until we figure this out.
And finally, there's a lot of fear that AI will replace American workers, because it already has in many cases. But we're also seeing something else, and that's massive data centers now needing electricians, needing plumbers, to keep these centers running. So what does that reality tell us about how AI actually functions and about the growing value really in skilled, hands-on jobs in a high-tech economy?
Exactly. AI is augmenting, changing the entire evolution of the job market. And we saw at the World Economic Forum just this week, the CEO of NVIDIA, the biggest chip maker right now, is saying that this is the huge, biggest infrastructure build out we've ever seen. So tradesmen are especially important. Construction workers, plumbers, electricians, these kinds of jobs cannot be changed by AI right now, but the demand is changing. And so the entire job market is changing. We're not necessarily being replaced, but jobs are shifting and evolving, and that's really what to look out for.
Cybersecurity expert and privacy attorney Leeza Garber, we appreciate you joining us this morning. Have a great weekend. Stay safe and warm.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Thanks.